Hey, what's happening, guys? Today we'll discuss the fate of Norman Osborn, what really happened to him in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, what might happen to him later on, and of course, I'm joined by Mark. You might know Mark from my past videos. He talked about the unused Venom costume design, the symbiote costume design. So, welcome, Mark. Hello there.
Hello, Seven.
How are you?
I'm all right. I've
Now,
just woken up.
Yep, we've both seen the film already in United Kingdom, so we've got plenty of stuff to discuss today. And of course, guys, I have to warn you, we've got some major spoilers, some really huge spoilers here. So if you want to, if you still haven't seen the film, you might want to avoid watching this video. If you're still here, all right. So, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this scene with Norman Osborn, once he dies, we see the empty bed, right?
Yeah, I think I kind of saw a little bit of Norman Osborn's body, but I'm pretty sure he disappeared. I just had to double check. Well,
Yeah, I've seen what I think I've seen. First of all, here's the picture, guys. Of course, the movie is out already, so I'm allowed to show you the picture. This is the scene which was supposed to be in the film. For some reason, just like many other scenes, the scene was cut, so no man in the shadows walking past Norman Osborn's head. Now, of course, it was rumored that the post-credit scene is a man in the shadows walking past all the chambers, and he ends up near the Norman Osborn's head chamber, the cryogenically frozen head, and he tells him, "Wake up, my friend."
actually, that was actually fake because he didn't actually saw the film, so it was actually Roar Machine who posted it first.
Yeah, and then there was this Reddit guy who said the same thing basically.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing these days that the rough cut of the film was like completely different thing. It's rumored that the death of Gwen Stacy scene was a completely different scene. She doesn't really die by the way we've seen the film, but instead Goblin uh, basically breaks her neck. Have you heard about it, Mark?
Yeah, I kind of heard about it. It was like a plot twist.
Yeah, so presumably there were two death scenes of Gwen Stacy, very brutal one and the one we've seen in the actual film. Now, this scene didn't make to the film, Norman Osborn's head. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen, once Norman Osborn dies, we see the empty bed and there's the whole staff, like doctors, whoever walks around the bed, right?
Yes, and they were scanning the place where he died.
Yeah, and I think I've seen this particular glass container, empty one without the head. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it in the room.
Um,
You might have missed it. I'm not sure really if it was there, but I think I've seen the glass container, the same one we've seen this picture without the head.
I'm pretty sure that was also supposed to be the symbiote, but it was replaced by the Rhino's armor.
Yes, yeah, but no, I mean in this scene with Norman Osborn's bedroom, we don't see him in the bed anymore. It's empty, and there stands the glass container somewhere in the corner without the head actually. Now,
Really?
yes, I've seen the movie twice now, and I'm pretty sure maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this glass container without the head.
Well, I haven't really paid attention. I actually paid attention to the scanning things. I just want to make sure Osborn was lying dead in the bed.
Yeah, so what's up with the scanning, like radioactive scanning or whatever they were trying to scan there? I'm not really sure, really.
Maybe they're trying to scan what happened to him. Maybe he actually got injected with some kind of a cure, maybe a serum. Because if you remember, when he talked to Harry, he had a sick green face and long nails. Kind of like Harry. What if they're following through the Spectacular Spider-Man plot twist?
Oh, with replacing the goblins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I got kind of a little bit of theory. Because what if the picture we're seeing with Norman Osborn's head is not actually head? What if it's a face? Because in the mid-end credits, there's like a 1 minute cutscene, which is just a mask. Now, I actually made my own theory. What if the villain they're hinting next time might be the chameleon? You know?
Yeah. But what? Alright, if it's the mask, how come it's cryogenically frozen? What's the point of mask in the chamber? Uh, doesn't really make sense, I think.
Maybe they're trying. Maybe what if it's not cryogenically frozen? Well, I can see a little bit of a smoke and condensation, but maybe that's how they're trying to keep the mask to look real. You know,
Oh,
maybe
so
that's Chameleon's way.
yeah,
Yeah.
what really doesn't really make sense from this particular picture, for example, we do know that Man in the Shadows walks past, vulture's wings, dark axe arms, all of these things are, as mentioned by Richard Parker, biological weapons. Uh, axe arms, vulture's wings, the symbiote. Norman Osborn's head doesn't really make sense. I mean, you can play basketball with that, but it doesn't really make sense why it's there along with the weapons. Why? 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 And of course, I shared my theories a couple of weeks ago actually about this head, and I think that Lizard's serum in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, the one Dr. Connors developed, actually allowed him to regrow his body parts. So maybe Norman will use the perfected serum, Lizard serum, and will actually regrow his body from just his head. They will inject this serum into his head, and he will regrow his body and will become a creature very similar to Ultimate Green Goblin, very monstrous creature.
Maybe they're onto something. What if it's the updated version of the pumpkin bomb? Because if you've seen the Spectacular Spider-Man, the cartoon, you can see the pumpkin bombs were screaming like if they had souls. So what if
Yeah, I
this
think that's
new
what really is going to happen. It's just a pumpkin bomb, a very stylish one.
yeah.
And also, pay attention to the chambers. They are filled with green smoke. What's up with that, Mark? What do you think about it?
Maybe they're green screen, probably. Maybe they're going to replace it with CGI tentacles, CGI armor, or symbiote, or the vulture's wings.
Oh, this I never thought about it. I just seen the green smoke. I thought, what the heck is that? Really, it's probably yeah, green screen. And we can see clearly Michael Massey is actually a man in this shed. Mark, are you one of the guys who actually believes that Massey is the chameleon?
I actually got so many theories. What if the Mass Shadows was actually the Mysterio or Norman Osborn or Chameleon? Well, and then when Mark Webb said the gentleman, and then I do some little bit of research, I kind of believe that he's the gentleman.
Well, yeah, Gustav Fierce. That's what they called him in the credits scene, in the credits, I believe. And
And
of
in the
course, Gustav,
comics,
yeah, Gustav Fierce is of course the gentleman, and we were right about it all the way along. So he is the gentleman. What really bothers me is that apparently he works for Harry Osborn, who was actually thrown out of Oscorp. Doesn't make any sense unless Harry pays him provided him a really nice paycheck, or maybe the gentleman has his own reasons. Um, I don't know. Some people speculate that he's the real Norman Osborn. It's so confusing right now, really.
yeah, because in the original comics they hid Norman Osborn with the trench coat and
Yeah,
a
yeah,
hat.
and the head, yes. So Chris Cooper, such a brilliant actor, is actually playing a fake guy.
And if you compare Michael Massey and Damon Hand, they kind of look similar. And if you compare the Don Mencken in the storyboards and Vijay Noag, we thought that he was going to be Don Mencken, but he ended up being Spencer Smythe, and Home Fior was looking like Adrian Jones, but he was Donald Mencken.
Donald Mencken, talk about Mencken, his fate is still left open. We haven't seen him. Well, they tortured him, Harry Osborn and Electron. They bring him down to the chambers, and he escaped once Harry Osborn transforms into a goblin. So I'm really wondering, if my theory eventually will turn out to be true. Mark, do you believe that at some point he might actually take the alias of Adrian Toomes and put on the wings?
To be honest, I think they're onto something. Maybe there'll be a plot twist, but I kind of believe that he might be, Donald Mencken. But we'll just have to wait and see until the spin-offs arrive and sequels as well.
Yeah. Well, that's getting back to Norman Osborn. Uh, what's up with the Amazing Spider-Man 3? I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 ends up with the Sinister Six being formed, so presumably the Sinister Six film should come out straight after the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Doesn't really confusing right now. Perhaps the Amazing Spider-Man 3 will actually feature not the real Sinister Six, but just a few guys like Rhino, Harry Osborn being the leader of the team, and maybe Electro, and then by the end of the film something happens to Harry Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man 3. He dies, or he gets killed, or he accidentally dies or whatever, and then Norman Osborn emerges as a guy who just regrowed his body as Ultimate Green Goblin, and then we've got the Sinister Six film. What really bothers me is that I don't really see Dan DeHaan coming back as the villain in the Amazing Spider-Man 3. I mean, Gwen is dead. The whole story with Dan DeHaan is pretty much with Harry Osborn. Uh, I don't really see them using him as the main villain and again.
I don't think he's gonna be like the main villain. I kind of got other villains in mind. For the sequel. I thought he might be. I thought it might be like the Chameleon or Doc Ock or the Vulture, and not to mention probably the symbiote and the Rhino. Because we've seen Spidey taking down Rhino at the last shot,
Yep.
and the symbiote he might be acquired in through the middle of the movie, and it's going to probably end up at the Sinister Six film, and it'll continue in the Venom movie where Eddie Brock possesses the Venom symbiote.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I mean, the perfect time to introduce the symbiote is right after Gwen Stacy's death. We talked about it earlier on. Peter Parker is basically, even though he came back as Spider-Man, he still will go through some tough times, definitely, and he's depressed. And perfect time for symbiote to arrive, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
and also a perfect time to introduce Eddie Brock in live-action form.
yeah, and Peter Parker fighting the Sinister Six wearing symbiote suit, once again getting back to Spectacular Spider-Man animated series would be really sweet.
Yeah, since that the writers and producers said that the Amazing Spider-Man series will be inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon.
Yep, that's true. And Electro was actually kind of inspired by the MTV animated series Max Dillon. Electro, this lonely guy nobody cares about.
And the origin is like in the Spectacular Spider-Man, with
Electro kills. Yeah, that's right. Right, getting back to Norman Osborn, I'm still wondering, hell with that. If they replace the symbiote with the Rhino's costume, alright, I can deal with that. They cut all the Chris Zilka scenes, by the way. There was no Flash Thompson, even thought we've seen Flash Thompson in some of the set pictures. That's really stupid in my... not really stupid, I mean... at this point we should realize everyone who still believes that Chris Zilka will be Agent Venom, I think you should forget about that idea, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Because he wouldn't believe that he wants to be Spider-Man, even though he's fan.
Yeah, and they cut other scenes, but this particular scene, there are some rumors, some reports. Not sure if they're, legit, but this somebody said that in the rough cut of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which early screening, the scene with Norman Osborn's head was actually there in the post-credit scene. Maybe they seen the reactions, of people. They were like, "What the heck," going down there, and so they cut the scene. They changed the scenes completely because the reaction was really negative. I mean, how would you react if you seen the freaking head in the chamber, right?
I would probably give some thought into that, and maybe it could be the mask.
Norman Osborn head is actually a mask. That's what some people, including you, believe. Now, personally, I believe that it might be actually his head, and he will regrow his body later on using the lizard serum, the completed lizard serum, and he will become the Ultimate Green Goblin. Or he won't become the... Well, you know why your theory makes sense, Mark? We already got the Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, another Green Goblin... I just don't really see it, honestly. I'm not really sure if Norman Osborn will become Green Goblin, or if it is the mask. It's a perfect setup for Chameleon and a great plot twist later on. So no Ultimate Green Goblin, maybe, very confusing right now. Don't really know what's going on. Also, you've seen the teaser, post credits, not really post credits, but the credits teaser. There were Doc Ock's arms, I believe.
Yes, and there was the Rhino's horn, and there was the wing of the Vulture, and the Green Goblin's glider, and at one point there was a face.
Really?
Yes, just a face. It wasn't Chris Cooper's face or anything. It was just a plain face. like a regular mask that you can paint on.
Damn it! I didn't notice that.
And it also appeared in the mid-credit section, just for 1 minute. It had this static, and then you can see a little bit of a glimpse of it.
So it might be Chameleon after all.
That's just my theory. So that's theory number one down.
Alright, that's interesting. I really haven't seen the face. I've seen Dark Axe arms, Vulture's wings. So, the Sinister Six, um, I mean, the villains for the Amazing Spider-Man 3 are basically confirmed now, right? It's Rhino, Vulture, Green Goblin, Dandy Han, and Dark Axe? Maybe Chameleon. So we've got 5 villains, right?
Yeah, I think the number six would be Shocker, since that he exists in the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
And what about Electro?
Oh, maybe he disappeared. Maybe he dissolved into real electricity, and now he lives in the electric currents. Just to lay low. After he got defeated. Because you cannot kill electricity.
Yeah, and eventually he will join in the Sinister Six spin-off film after the
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 3. Well, that makes sense. So I think that Harry Osborn might be the leader of this villainous team in the Amazing Spider-Man 3, but by the time of the Sinister Six, it's probably Doc Ock. I mean, Doc Ock was the original leader. He formed the Sinister Six, and so probably it's Doc Ock who will be the leader, not Norman Osborn, whatever.
Well, he may not be the big leader. He can be like Captain America of Sinister Six. Since that he's the leader, but the real leader, the organizator, is the Michael Macias, the gentleman. Kind of like Nick Fury. If you think about it.
That's interesting. I'm still analyzing the picture of Norman Osborn's head. I really, it's a really great theory, Mark, but still, I can't really. Doesn't really make a lot of sense for a mask. A mask should just hang out somewhere there in the room. Not in the chamber with the life support system or whatever it is. We've got some displays there. And it looks like the chamber just popped up out of the ground. I mean the head itself. It's like the gate opened and there's the
Smoke coming out,
not the smoke, but
condensation.
yeah, exactly. And it looks like the head just arrived from the ground. And Michael Massey said whatever he said, like
Wake up, old friend.
wake up, old friend, or do you have any cornflakes? And then he walks away, as you can see in the picture, and the head goes down to the ground. Mark, do you still believe that Norman Osborn is alive?
Well, I'm not really sure because I'm not sure if he can actually survive with the frozen head. But if it's a cryogenically frozen head, I can believe that. But then again, he might be faked his own death. With lying down the ground, lying down on the bed. I mean, with scanning.
Yeah.
And maybe he faked his own death. Maybe he lied to his son. He lied to pretty much everyone in Oscorp, to Peter, to everyone in New York.
And Michael Massey, you believe he is actually the Norman Osborn?
No, I think he's the gentleman.
Gentleman, just the gentleman, not the chameleon or anyone else.
No.
Finally, what do you think? What's the motives behind his character? What he wants to? What's his part in this whole business?
The gentleman's?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure his motive is to save Norman Osborn, probably.
So there are old friends, according to your theory.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, of course, in the Gathering the Sinister Six graphic novel, that's when we first got introduced to Gustav Fierce, the gentleman. He had his own personal agenda against Richard and Mary Parker. And basically, forming the Sinister Six was his ultimate revenge plan against their son, Peter Parker. So maybe, maybe he's somehow connected to Peter's parents in this franchise. Maybe he has some sort of his own disease and he needs to be saved or whatever, just like Norman Osborn. Alright guys, as you can see, we've seen the film and we've got even more questions. Probably that's a great thing. We've got something to look up for, something to wait for, for the explanation. Thanks for joining, Mark.
Thank you.
Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you've seen the film, post your own theories. And thanks for watching, guys. And I'm off for now.